well-rounded in the draft. So coming to this Chudlings and Melbourne University Esports, you got to hope, you got to pray that they're cooking up something good, because we want something scrumptious.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll see what they're able to cook up here. It's going to be the Syndra band up against Mingji. So taking away just one of those pretty standard control mages in the mid lane that most mid laners that do play control mages do play a lot of Syndra, especially in solo queue. Kind of offers some of the most carry potential as far as those control mages do come. Talon band against Erdoran, and oh my god, they just hit the Ari ban immediately. No time for Chudlings to do it.
Yeah, zero hesitation there. They knew exactly what they wanted to get off the board. So, I mean, again, you got those champions that have consistently been capable and relevant in the top of the champion pool in terms of, the meta slaves, as they are often called. But again, you got those champions that still work very, very well in their given role.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. Are we going to see all that heavier prioritization around the ban phase? Okay, Ari ban's been taken back.
Yeah,
they hit the undo button.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just fixing it up. There we go, Ambessa, banned by Chudlings, and then
so
there it is.
The Ari ban anyway.
Yeah,
just the organization or the order of it all.
Yeah, fixing up the order. Ambessa, I mean, a very strong champion. Can be played both in the top lane and the jungle now, especially, so it's even stronger just by virtue of being able to sort of flex that pick. You don't necessarily know where it's going immediately. And the Lee Sin also going to be taken away from Summoner 7. One last ban to come through. And then we will get to see our first 3 champions for both sides. What are we looking to take away?
A lot of priority around jungle already. As much as you could say the Ambassador is flex, you very much lumped in there, so more priority for the Chudlings. But again, so one side, Chudlings targeting out Summoner 7, whereas Melbourne University Esports much more concerned about what Sword's going to be bringing in that mid lane.
Yeah, and they're taking away, not only is it Victor, but it's the old Russian Chad Victor too. Miss that guy so dearly. Now, let me first pick, what are we looking for? I mean, honestly, it's just hard to tell, right? Orianna, I mean, that's what you kind of expect in the absolute upper echelons of League of Legends as well. So, I mean, it is just a very, very solid control mage. It does everything. It doesn't really have that many weaknesses. A little bit of mobile, but not really, right? You have access to phase rush if you need phase rush. You also have command dissonance to give yourself movement speed or to slow the enemy. It's kind of, you have utility in the sense that you can give yourself that mobility. Why are you going to be picked into it? So, I mean, I think in general, I do favor Orianna. In the matchup, though, Hui's going to be perfectly fine. I just think Orianna's a bit more well-rounded as a champion in a whole.
As well synergistically, we'll pair with junglers a little bit cleaner than Hui will. Just offers so much more, especially when you pair it with a Nocturne, the ball delivery system.
Yeah, I mean, I would be very scared if I was Hui, and I'm staring down the barrel of an Orianna Nocturne. I think that is a very scary thing to be going up against. Going to be the Varus picked up here for Jabo. I think it's largely his most played champion, so not too surprising to see that come out. It has the sort of option to go both on hit and lethality. I actually had him in my game the other day and he went on hit, so we'll see what he does go towards this game. Ornn picked up in the top lane here for Voya. It's just a very solid champion as a whole, and it is perfectly blind pickable as well.
Yeah, I think... I don't know if it's gonna offer the re-engage, obviously. The Paranoia Command Shockwave comes in. You can then look to try and Ornn and slow down that press coming in from J-Bar and whoever they've got Shushu on, just to make it a little bit harder for them to close gap and follow up on that engagement. So I can understand the theory behind it. It makes a decent amount of sense. But obviously Poppy coming through. Poppy ban, interestingly, for Melbourne University, I definitely think they could have got some value there picking it up for themselves.
Possibly the Sona. I think Sona's a disgustingly broken champion, honestly, and I don't think in Pro it's utilized nearly as much as it could be. In fact, it's not utilized at all, but I think it could be. I do think that champion is really, really strong. As long as you don't just completely giga feed in the first 5 minutes, you scale so ridiculously well, especially, comparative to other support champions that exist.
Bard, Soraka, the final 2 bans for Chudlings. So support's copping a little bit of love in that second ban phase. Tristana for Ayamaru.
Tristana, they get their choice of last pick for supports. I think what I'm looking towards here for Chudlings, especially now that Poppy's gone, you can look towards the Rakan. It pairs really well with, and it's a Lulu. I mean, again, Lulu can do similar, right? Like, you have the option of peeling with that wild growth if you need to, which this game doesn't look like you really are going to have to. But you can also use it on your Nocturne. It creates more sort of, what is it? Agony, I guess, for the immobility
more
of the
wombo
play.
To the combo.
Yeah, exactly. And then we get the Cassante. So,
Yeah.
Cassante does really well into Ornn as well. So, really well-rounded comp here for the Chudlings. I do think this suggests we are getting on-hit Hui, Varus, which I think makes sense, ultimately, given you're not really under any threat. So you are actually going to have a lot of uptime to be able to get out those auto attacks, especially paired with this Lulu. So I quite like the option here of going that on-hit Varus. I think it does add a lot to being able to take out the Ornn, as well as you just aren't that pressured to be forced to play 3 screens away as that lethality Varus.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Poke is going to only do so much when you've got a front line that is looking to just scream and jump onto this way, jump onto the Nami, you'd imagine. Tristan's going to be a little bit harder to get onto, obviously, with that jump, so timing is going to be a little bit of an issue. Obviously, if Yamaru can buffer it just that little bit cleaner, he should be able to get himself away from danger, at least make it incredibly hard for Urgeran to play the follow-up team fight, because he's now 5-6 screens away, because suddenly he jumped 3 screens and then Tristana managed to hop another couple with a flash rocket jump. So, I mean, look, I can understand it so far. They've got a great amount of turnaround for Melbourne University Esports between the Ornhorn and that tidal wave coming back through. So I think the follow-up from Chudlings is going to be a little bit harder to execute, so long as MUE have the positioning to play off of themselves. But yeah, if Chudlings can find a clean execute, Quay's dead. Quay is pretty much dead. Nami's pretty much dead. Command Shockwave Paranoia combo is a very, very hard thing for squishy targets to deal with, and Quay and Nami notoriously quite squishy.
Yeah, I will say they do have good disengage, right? You have that option of the Xin Zhao ultimate as well as the tidal wave from Nami. So, I mean, if you do make a mistake on the engage here as the Nocturne, it can be very, very scary, because it's not easy for your team composition to actually keep up with you, right? You're going to have the Orianna ball on the Nocturne, so that automatically takes away some avenue of getting your team in with that command dissonance. But then ultimately, it's like, okay, Varus is probably on hit this game. It's going to be hard for him to find that follow-up damage with the Nocturne. Cassante, unless he's coming from a flank, does struggle at navigating team fights where you're running forward. He's not very good at running forward. He's really good at coming from a flank or looking for sort of, that ult through a wall. So you do have to be pretty clean on the engage, or find a good avenue for Zella to find a flank in these team fights for you to have like a really, really good opportunity. But still, I mean, regardless of all of that, you can sort of find your Nocturne caught out, but Hui is still probably dead before that happens.
Yeah.
And so even then, it is probably just a 4v4, and even then, I do think I still prefer the team composition we're seeing here for Chudlings. Of course, I mean, if they just die a lot early game, which the pressure of Tristana could cause, in theory, then all of that goes out the window, and you can kind of just steamroll this game as a Tristana.
Yeah, I mean, Mingji is going to have to prioritize not early Zhonya's, but a reasonably early Zhonya's.
Yeah, we're getting the Zhonya's early this game.
Oh, yeah. Look, it's not going to be first item. If it's first item, things are, I think, drastically bad for MUE at that point in the game. But they are going to have to prioritize this way, getting an early Zhonya's, so he removes himself as a potential target for the Command Shockwave Paranoia combo, which then does put a lot of this pressure onto Ayamaru.
And it's time. We're into game number 2 of the night. Obviously, the second day of the Oceanic Resurrection today. Much more standard team compositions here in Game 2 in comparison to our first game of the day. Still have some champs that we don't see all that often in the likes of the Hui and the Tristana, though they do rear their head from time to time. A very, very traditional composition here, though, coming out of the Chudlings, outside of maybe the Varus being on hit, but I do think it's the correct decision this game. Yeah,
absolutely. No, I think otherwise they do struggle a little bit to get through that on. They're not going to suffer, of course. It's not, you're not sitting there for 10 minutes smacking the thing, but an on-hit Varus is definitely going to speed that up quite drastically. Top start for both junglers here. They're going to be heading down towards their bot lane duos, which I think makes a lot of sense. It's a tank versus tank slap fight up in the top lane. You're not going to be looking to impact too much there. And for the most part, mid, both the Hui and the Orianna aren't going to be getting too close to enable that sort of an engagement.
Yeah. It's actually a good matchup up in top for the Cassante. Has a lot more kill threat over the Ornn. Typically will get lane priority against the Ornn too. So it is actually an avenue for Nocturne to play around to try and sort of get extra camps, get himself those scuttle crabs and whatnot if he needs to. Because the bot lane priority will all but certainly favor this Tristana Nami by just virtue of how those champions play.
Absolutely. already you can see up that top side, Voyance has been pushed under. We're sort of seeing the wave states that we'd expect with the champions that have been drafted for both sides. It's going to be very much top side leaning the way of the Chudlings up and top. Bot lane, it's very much going to favour MUE. I mean, it's that constant slap fighting we see in the top lane. How well can Voyas avoid a position where he sets up either a tower dive or just a solo bolo? Because we've seen Cassante time and time again, even in the early stages of 2026, where it's just such a lane bully that we saw it in the LCP. What was it, Evie? 4 solo kills in lane in the first 2 weeks of play as Cassante.
Yeah, different situations though. Those were not against an Ornn, but
no.
It is a different possibility. I think you're probably not finding a solo kill, really. It's up to the Ornn to make some pretty egregious misplays for that to occur. But still, I mean, it's not out of the question. And Cassante can sort of open up those opportunities for that misplay to occur.
Exactly. I mean, not quite the disparity that we saw in the last game. Lane states in terms of the minion score, pretty even across the board as you'd come to expect. Not that range in the melee matchup in the mid lane. Gwen, who was down a good 20 CS reasonably early on. So it is going to be a much slower game, it would seem.
Teleport back to lane. Massive minion wave stacked up. Found a really good recall timer for himself, actually. Not going to be able to hold this wave, though. Would lose almost all of his HP if he dared tried. Still
he should
going to allow for the recall.
Collect a decent amount of it, though.
Yeah. Cassante, a very good champ at farming under tower. Has himself a slight lead in terms of CS too, so not feeling bad about the situation. No one really is in this game thus far.
Oh. I think Summoner 7 has walked around the vision there, so it wasn't spotted by the ward, so Sword might burn flash here.
Yeah, I mean, he's just dead.
Die.
Just dead,
okay.
Wow.
Oh no, it's already gone. Yeah, okay, so it was forced out earlier, because it's on cooldown.
I mean, just clean find. Finding the immobile mage in the mid lane that doesn't have access to that flash and punishing it. I mean, good spot. Hold the side of Melbourne University Esports.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great read. Summoner 7 playing around that vision control in the bot river incredibly well.
Oh.
Gets himself into a position to punish, and absolutely does so. We did see it. I mean, Saul was sitting under his tower looking for that recall not that long ago, and likely off the back of Ming Ji getting a bit cheeky with it, pushing up and forcing out that flash early.
Yeah, credit where credit's due. Wow, that's a passionate pink ward, honestly. Gets it down though, and we'll be able to spot out anytime Summoner 7 looks for any particularly aggressive play up there. And has full control over the top lane at the moment, though teleport's still available here for Voyas, so actually feels pretty good for himself ultimately.
Only 600 gold lead. The vast majority of that held between mid and jungle off the back of that first kill. So far from a blowout at this stage in the game comparative to the last one. But also, I think for the most part, Chudlings very much is going to be straight power farming to 6 on this Nocturne, looking to get that Paranoia online, and that's when you can really start to find effect with that Orianna Nocturne combo.
Amaru getting very aggressive down in the bot lane, but not able to find the kill just yet. Deepax flashes forward, Bubble goes completely wide as Erdogan on that level 5 Nocturne can do little but walk at this Nami, does get in, and it is going to be Shushu that picks himself up that kill.
Not ideal target for the kill recipient there, but realistically you just take the kill regardless and look to get that lane prior, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Transition it into an early dragon take. It's going to be on a ward, but with that kill, there's not really the greatest of timings for MUE to contest this conceivably. So first dragon goes away at Chudlings, and Urgeran very, very close to 6 at this point.
Out of mana now for Mingji, no flash available, so Sora doing a good job of controlling now the position of this wave, but recall can come through, and with home guards being accessible from the very beginning of the game, is going to be able to get back to lane in time. Honestly, we are mere patches away from having Subway Surfers available every time we press B.
It can't be far off, and that slap fight in the top side, Zayla coming out a little worse for wear, but that is the nature of Cassante and his ultimate. Oh no, support's here.
I mean, he was just going to get solo killed there anyway, if not for Summoner 7 coming up. Really well played by Voyas to, I mean, put Cassante in that kind of position. I'm not sure how things went that badly. How they went that wrong for it to even have been in that situation, but regardless, well played by the Orn to be able to make that happen, and there's going to be Summoner 7 once again benefiting off it. So 2 kills now on the side of Melbourne University Esports, and both of them being picked up by the Zinzao.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're getting a decent amount of value. Orn, not the hungriest for kills, give that acceleration to a Zinzao, who is going to be in the middle of a team fight. Just means that little bit harder to chew through. Work becomes that much harder for this on-hit Varus, going from what should be just the Orn that you have to get through, that you have to worry about, now to being the Zinzao as well, becoming a significant threat.
Nocturne level 6 now though, so a little bit easier for him to look for aggressive plays. However, talk about aggressive plays, straight in there will go the Zinzao. Unfortunately, not a whole lot can be done there by Erdogan, as he is going to just come in, get swept out by the Zinzao, head back to his wolves, but he's going to pay at the price of, I don't know how many, but quite a lot of his bot camps potentially if Summoner 7 wanted to. Only taking the Raptors, it seems like.
Yeah. And again, that lead just extending out more and more as the game goes on, all off the back of Summoner 7 and how he is just highly impacting the map. Unfortunately, we have yet to see the same coming out here for Erdogan. Look, it did come into the game from the bot lane, but far less proactive, it feels.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of by virtue of the champions in many respects, but also I think the laners, unfortunately, if you're Orianna with no flash, walking a bit too far up, it was a great punish from Summoner 7, and now having already completed that Sundered Sky has become pretty ridiculous on the Rift. Zalia trading very hard, doesn't have W available to himself, but missing the Orn ult, and straight through the wall. Does get himself the flash away, and Summoner 7's right there to try and make this Cassante pay. Not able to find the kill just yet, but the wind meets lightning, does secure it. Boyers doesn't take that second tower shot, so will walk away. It was a good look in there, but unfortunately, able to find the kill. And once again, it's the Zinzao. 2 games in a row now, becoming ridiculously strong.
Absolutely. And again, just complete control over the neutral objectives, being that much more proactive around the Rift rather than sort of power farming, waiting to hit those spikes. It is going to be a contest here for Erdogan. Not sure if he wants to smoke. He is going to get the one.
This is Orianna here, but Summoner 7 straight back onto that clockwork. Was it being, I suppose, as the ultimate does connect there from Mingji. Going to be able to take down this Orianna, potentially shielding from the Cassante. Keeping her alive for now. Erdogan possibly looking to go in aggressively, but he's 2v1 for the time being. Shield is there. Their command protect, and Zalia still trying to find more. 2-man hit by the Pathmaker, but unfortunately it's his jungler that pays. Shot down will be picked up by the Cassante. His bot lane looking for the successful 2v2 and will find one, so still fighting. Other Chudlings.
Yeah, absolutely. Not going quietly into the night by any stretch of the imagination. And the word you're looking for is automaton, is what Orianna is. Clockwork being would be an automaton. But either way, yeah, just a little bit of dissonance, ironically, the Chudlings in that fight. But they do come out pretty well off with Java picking up that kill in the bot lane.
Man, Mingji finding some good trades, but is struggling in terms of that mana pool. I am glad it doesn't appear that Saw's going for that double scaling item. It looks like it will just be the Seraph, and then hopefully something that does some damage. You do really want that alongside your Nocturne, who, I mean, ultimately is struggling when compared to the Zinzao, but as is everyone on the Rift.
Yeah, I mean, again, far from a game-ending situation for either of these teams. There's still plenty of League of Legends to play, but Summoner 7 has had a great game so far, and off the back of that, so has Mingji, and they're looking for Saw again, but with those boots all finished up very, very quick on its feet, this Orianna will be able to walk its way back, but again, the vision control.
Ultimate does connect, but only onto Mingji, and Saw is likely to go down here. Summoner 7 that collects it. Erdogan caught by that spiraling despair, trying to get away. Can he make it? No. Knocked up, taken out. Double kill again for the Zinzao. 1.8k gold lead. Dragon's going to follow. And a pretty rough lead being formed for the side of Melbourne University Esports, though there are still avenues of play. Your bot lane is doing well, and you do have at least a tank this game to try and bide time around the Xin Zhao.
Yeah, it's a problem point for sure. They have not been able to execute that Orianna Nocturne combo efficiently. Your mid lane and jungle are both really struggling at this point off the back of Summoner 7. Consistently looking around this mid lane and the nearby jungle, and unfortunately Chudlings find themselves in a position where if they don't find some avenue to bounce back, and I think realistically J-Bar might just be it, they find themselves in a position where every single team fight, they're just getting swamped by multiple bodies. Summoner 7 Boyas right in the thick of things. Minji has got that acceleration in terms of gold, that he's also going to be contributing damage from downrange. Oh, there we go.
Coming through. Command Shockwave not available though. They're still looking for the kill. They will find it. Shutdown picked up by the Nocturne, but Saw getting caught up there in the snare. And it is just going to be a 1-for-1, all things done. Now Summoner 7 looking towards those top camps of this Nocturne. They are there and available. And he is a lot stronger at this current stage of the game, with ultimate as well available to himself. This blue buff is but a done deal.
An 8-1-0 Xin Zhao. 100% kill participation because he's got every single one of them. And look, luckily, Mingji off the back of his assistance has benefited, has profited from this Xin Zhao so far. Finds himself up 1400 gold, 20 CS as well, because Saw is just finding this game impossible to play, unfortunately.
A lot of damage from the Cassante. Unfortunately, not a lot from the Ornn. Yeah, a little bit back there.
The slap fight continues.
Oh, this could be a kill angle. Okay, has the W. This is what we love to see.
This is quintessential top lane slap
Yes, this
fighting.
is so good. Oh, it's ruined by a Xin Zhao that... I mean, actually caught out of position. The Varus is here. Can we give him the kill? That could be really good. And it was picked up. Massive, massive shutdown being found for the on-hit Varus. And that's a champion that can output the damage you need. Ultimate immediately being used mid too, and Mingji's caught out of position. No flash, does pop the ghost. Command Shockwave lands, but very fast on the way. Even faster on the Nocturne. And Erdogan claims the kill on that way. That's 2 kills in quick succession. And well and truly back in it now are the Chudlings. In fact, only 200 gold behind, not making it over the wall. Zayla, ultimate coming through, does have to flash away. Looking at his cooldowns though, 5 seconds left on the Pathmaker. It can still be a cool kill angle for this Cassante. Will he be able to find it? The E4, the W, he's got it!
Oh, wow.
Just like
all
that.
All of a sudden, Chudlings turn a quick triple play. 2 made down below by Erdran and his red side, jungle and then mid lane, and then Zayla. The slap fight just overextending himself a little bit on this Ornn. Boyas suffers greatly at the hands of Xante. And suddenly that gold lead has completely been nullified and in fact swung the way of Chudlings.
Wow. This Cassante is now very, very far ahead in terms of gold. Luckily, Ornn, not necessarily that gold reliant, more XP reliant, but still. It's actually a good sort of state of the game now for the side of the Chudlings. I mean, sure, the Xin Zhao's fed, but you have relatively good champs to deal with that. He's going to struggle to get through both the Cassante and the Lulu.
There's going to be a lot of work to do for sure. You can see Summoner 7 may not have necessarily learned his lesson as he is looking at the jungle. Oh dear.
Flash away. Flash straight back into him for Erdogan though. Spiraling Despair as well as that tidal wave coming through. That's 2 key ultimates down, but much the same. Nocturne, without that paranoia, considerably weaker as a champion. Looking now to try and get themselves that mid lane priority. Give over that Rift
in the bot lane.
Yeah.
Hex Optics just sold out Ayamaru. The Hex Optics has been there in the inventory for a wee while for Ayamaru. Unfortunately, the Varus stat stick, as it were, just offering a little bit more with the Blade of the Rune King compared to a first item Hex
sizable difference between the amount of damage output between these two AD carries. I mean, Varus, the quintessential AD carry stat stick, is great. Shockwave out of Soar is very low. Summoner 7 coming in. Erdogan is going to have access to that Lulu ult. Wildgrove comes out. The Fear is going to connect, but Summoner 7 still connecting on that Windlace Lightning. Straight back in there. Soar trying to shield up, trying to help the Lulu. Does manage to do so just barely, as both the Flash and Heal having to be utilized. Smite does come in, secure themselves the Raptors. Mingji no summoners, and Zayla trying desperately to find his way onto that back line. Flash not available for this Cassante. Fear does connect, and Erdogan looking for that kill. Can he find the Paranoia onto those two up the top? No, he doesn't.
Well, if they just kept that vision for a second longer, there might have been an angle to take out Mingji, but it does give them the prio they need to then transition into Dragon number 3 of the game, Ocean Soul. And the second for Chudlings, as they've done a great job of wrenching that neutral prio away from MUE.
2 Dragons now, to their name, to just the one of Melbourne University Esports. And a very even game state, but a lot of heavy lifting having to be done by the Zinzao now, with how much gold is on both him and the Hui. And as we pointed out at the top of this game, out of everyone on the lineup for the side of Melbourne University Esports, it is the Hui that's going to struggle the most against Nocturne Oriana. And now with gold actually being picked up by the Nocturne, it became a little bit harder for him. Bunch of kills being given over.
Yeah, I mean, look, was down a little bit more. I think it was nearing 2,000, but it's only just shy of a K.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Time.
Give me more of this. There's nothing else on the map. I want to watch this. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's a way to see. One thing I'd love to have access to is grasp the Undying count, but we found our way into Zayla. Does have the ultimate available to himself, still does pull it, but very, very late. He is going to go down eventually. No way out for that Cassante. Unfortunately, Ornn cheating and using his teammates, but all the while, ultimate coming down onto this way. A great spell shield coming through, but unfortunately, Erdogan is going to get stunned up. Mingji desperately trying to find a way out, but Jaber's that way. No flash, he's going to be picked up, and it's going to be the Varus picking up yet another.
Yeah, and otherwise, perfect plan until you run face first into Jaber, who is currently 3-0-2 and 1,500 gold up on his lane opponent. I think Erdogan, despite the early hiccups that he experienced on this jungle Nocturne, is very much righted the ship, feeling a little bit more confident, having found that recent success with overcommitment and over-aggression on the part of Summoner 7. And with this win condition now clearly evident in the form of a very, very comfortably fed Varus, this is a point where Chudlings can really start to twist that knife.
And I think they don't need to do all that much on the map, really. They can just wait for the dragon spawns. They have a really good team composition for trying to punish people out of position. But in particular, it's really the Hui or the Nami that are the best targets to look for towards that. So Mingji no Ghost now will have Flash available to himself in the upcoming sort of minute or so. If they're able to find a way to force that out, he becomes a sitting duck again for that combination. I believe it's affectionately known as the Noct Wave. Oh, uh-oh. Oh, well. All right, nice. Able to get himself away. Little Lance lands. JB with the flash away. Is he able to get the kill? No, he's not. Down he goes. It's going to be the ebb and flow that actually takes him out, but 2 kills quickly found here for the Chudlings. Soar flashing away back into that Cassante, able to peel for a little bit, but it is the Smiling Despair that takes him out. On the backside, Zayla trying to find that kill onto Summoner 7, but it's going to be Mingji that finds 2 for himself. Down goes the Lulu. It's only the Cassante left. Better to fight than to live in fear, but unfortunately, he is going to go down. No way onto that way. It is going to be the team fight win for Melbourne University Esports. And the ace picked up for Voilas.
And a team fight that Jaber just did not take part in because he was caught out far too early and cleaned up. It was then a great little flank there from Zayla to come in to pick up the trade at the very least. But you look how very, very nearly they were able to take him out with any repercussions. Yeah, I think if Ayamaru survives that without getting caught by the Cassandre, it becomes a very, very different team fight and a much cleaner one. But both bot lane is gone. Means that it becomes sort of this amalgamation 4v4 slap fight. Nerdtran doing a lot, surviving a lot in the middle of that team fight. And Zayla, unfortunately, in a 1v1, was still probably going to lose out in the situation. But Mingji there to assist makes it an all but certainty. And Voyas getting a huge amount of value on this all in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there is a worse position on the entire map to fight a way on than that exact line through the jungle. I mean, that is just... If you're Hui fighting in that little line, you are getting the dream situation. Sword splashdown down the bot lane will be taken out very promptly. Sniped away as well by Ming-Ji. So more gold over onto this Hui, who did pick himself up a very large sum now, working towards that third item, likely to be that death cap. And it could also be the Zhonya's, but I think it should be the Zhonya's, but we'll see. Who knows?
I think it is going to have to. You don't really want to finish off that Shadow Flame, because I don't know if it's going to offer you all that much. Because as soon as they identify this Orianna as a target, it's a pretty easy case of just running them down, especially with an army in. You just offer that little bit of extra speed to Summoner 7, or even Ming-Ji can assist that. Oh, look, Summoner 7 is playing well deep right now.
Yeah, shouldn't be able to find all that much off the back of this, though. Very easy to clear out the waves when the Baron is not available, and Dragon's still not spawned. They're going to be found. Blast Cone going to be utilized, and Erdogan is right in the thick of things now. Flash away, really good flash, but it's still going to be caught up there by Ming-Ji. Spiting Despair does connect, but it's only onto Shu. Straight back in there, the Wild Growth connects, but the Order Horde's doing much the same on the back end. Ming-Ji, sure, he's found. Great ultimate out of this Cassante, but it's now a 4v2 in favor of Melbourne University once again as they turn their attention towards this objective. It will be their second dragon of the game, equaling up that dragon score.
Yeah, look, an otherwise perfect plan, if not for the fact that you're fighting in the middle of a choke point and J-Bar again gets clipped before he can actually play the fight the way that he wants to. And I mean, you look at it here, you thought for sure Summoner 7 was dead. Like, he got caught, I don't know if he was looking at the minimap, whatever, gets caught out, Erdtran gets himself in a great position, but that Blast Cone sort of sells the farm. They jump back in, get caught by the Tidal Wave, J-Bar as well. Look at how much damage he just eats from Ming-Ji as a consequence of his support just standing too close to him off the back of that Spiraling Despair. So poor J-Bar is having a real rough game of it.
Back to live. Attention towards this Baron is down to 6k HP, but Zayla's there trying to stop them from taking it. It's 3v4. There's no junglers here yet. It is going to be the smite. Summoner 7 does secure it. But how many can get away? Ayamaru's out. He uses that rocket jump to get himself away. 2 kills found, but it's 3 members strong with the Baron now. I'll have to wait for respawns to come through. It could be an opportunity now, possibly, for Chudlings to look towards this mid tower. Paranoia is available. Ming-Ji has to be careful on this mid wave, but still, Erdogan not in the area just yet. Paranoia now being used. Zayla's found his way onto that way. Great usage of the Nocturne ultimate, but he's taken down and absolutely annihilated. It's 2 freebies as the rest of the team has the wave cleared beneath their feet and cannot get through the tower.
Amaru has just been given so much room to play this game, despite how things have gone early on. He's got that Ornn upgraded Infinity Edge, has the Hex Optics, he's working his way towards that. He's got the Last Whisper at the very least. I don't know whether it's going to be an Elder. You'd imagine potentially. Realistically, probably not going to matter all that much, given how strong this Tristana currently is.
Yeah, it's looking a bit grim for the Chudlings now. Very back and forth game, ultimately, but unfortunately none of the carries can actually make it to this. I think Erdogan walking back towards his jungle meant that his ultimate's a little bit delayed. So the minion wave gets cleared out, team can't follow up with him, and it does leave him very isolated. Now, we're in a situation, 4 people on this bot side, but Xin Zhao is nowhere to be seen. Still, they take the tower, realize that they don't want to fight in this position without their Xin Zhao, and are going to take the resets. 5k gold lead now afforded to Melbourne University Esports. As Chudlings, I mean, still avenues of play within the game, but they need to stop taking these fights in the small chokes of the jungle. They're just the absolute most perfect place for a Hui to fight, for an Ornn to fight, even a Nami with access to that tidal wave.
I mean, even a Tristana, that splash damage that comes through, if you find it picked, it's just going to keep transferring on through. And, poor Shu has just been picked off once again. Only the 3rd death so far, but even still, the problem of being that Lulu in this game.
Marching down the mid wave now. Baron buff alive and well. Will be falling off very shortly. 30 more seconds of the buff, but they do collect themselves at mid lane and hip.
And a great recovery so far from Melbourne University Esports. They did find themselves on even footing with Chudlings, who managed to find a decent way back in. Erdtran and Source started to find things, started to come together, but unfortunately, every opportunity milked away by MUE.
Paranoia coming out. Oriana Ball is not on the Nocturne. Does go in, does find the Oriana Ball. It's a two-man. They find their way onto the way, but away does go Mingji. Two people following, but not able to keep up as Udaran will fall. Shu on just the 1 HP and resets for the Tristana coming through. Only two people left alive. It's going to be the bot lane with all to do. Baron buff does fade with a 5-man strong unit of Melbourne University Esports. This feels insurmountable as J-Bar's going to get stunned up. Flash does come out, but there is nothing to do but watch now as the Nexus will fall and MUE collect their first.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was an even game until it wasn't. Chudlings did a great job of actually leveraging the Rift back to a position where they could play the game, and then unfortunately then decided to play that game in choke points, which unfortunately enabled MUE to do everything they needed to. Ornn, Nami, Quay, all going to be playing in that choke point incredibly comfortably. J-Bar consistently just getting clipped by either, the Swirling Despair or, Tidal Wave or whatever. Often was at times sold up the creek by his own support because he got caught by an ability, that Spiraling Despair, and then walked into range of his bot laner only for, this Varus, which was so integral to his success, to lose half his HP off the back of it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty impossible game to play for how the early game started out. They managed to find a way to fight back in, but yeah, it was just team fight after team fight in the most unholy positions to ever look for them, right? They're in those, as you point out, the chokes, of which pretty much the entire composition will thrive for the side of MUE. And so taking those fights, repeatedly did mean that they just kept falling further and further behind from eventually finding themselves ahead in the mid game. And so it did become eventually very insurmountable, and it's where we kind of found ourselves, where I think they had one last avenue in to look for a good team fight, but maybe a sort of miscommunication where Erdogan does head towards his jungle. I mean, they couldn't actually look for that dive with the 5-man unit, and eventually that kind of was their last look in that game. But ultimately, I mean, well played by MUE, Summoner 7 getting his whole team so far ahead early on, I guess beside the bot lane, who kind of did just end up losing out in the 2v2. But really converting it into eventual success.
Yeah, I mean, it speaks to just how well things were going for Summoner 7. He was, only 1,800 gold ahead, but by proxy, Mingji was 1,400 gold ahead purely off assist. It wasn't a massive CS lead in that mid lane by any stretch of the imagination. It was just off the back of consistently was in a position to make those plays off Summoner 7s, collect the paycheck, and sort of just carry on. And from there, he was at a point of strength where we saw that fight. He picks up 3 big kills for himself in that Chudlings bot blue side. So, I mean, it just goes to show the impact these junglers are having in the competition right now.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll be very interested to sort of... we're going to have a games overview thing, I'm being told, but I'd be very interested to find out sort of what caused Saw to lose the Flash early on, because that was kind of the catalyst for the amount of success that we did end up seeing, right, for the side of MUE. So here are the results of today's games thus far. Of course, off stream, we did have that game number 3, and it was Forever Blessed who ended up taking that one. So they also head to 1-0 in their group. But Maplers obviously winning out of that first game in a very, very dominant fashion, and then MUE that we just watched getting themselves that second win of the day. And so last game of the day coming up, I mean, in like an hour and something's time eventually, but UNSW Howl up against Skull Bullet, which is, I mean, pretty exciting because, again, as I touched on at the top of the day, that's our qualification team. They played in the qualifier to get here. They very clearly won that, and now we get to see how they sort of stack up against those teams that automatically qualified.
Yeah, and to go back to the question, so we did see moments before that gank from Summoner 7, both Mingji and Saw on blinking HP bars. Saw was looking to recall. I didn't quite catch it at the time, but obviously there'd been an engage. Mingji had got the flash out, and it was immediately communicated to Summoner 7, and they capitalized it. And that is what you need, especially at this level of play. You need that synergy between your jungle and mid lane to be able to make those pivot plays.
Yeah, I mean, they absolutely did. And then he absolutely, just railed the early game. That turns out was 1.8 kills out of 8 kills. It's like, okay, well, this is feeling a bit rough. And I think there were some mispositionings in the mid game against that Nocturne. Right, Erdogan found some really good avenues back into the game, and they did find themselves in a winning position. But again, it was just team fight after team fight and really bad chokes that was playing into exactly what MUE wanted. That eventually led to their downfall.
Absolutely, and I mean, look. I think you play a couple of those fights differently. You're not taking them in choke points. Absolutely. This Varus is in a position where he can handily take over the remainder of that game, but just consistently choosing to force those fights. And I think ultimately what undid Chudlings there a little bit was maybe a lack of vision. They were committing to these fights and they just didn't know the positioning of MUE. We saw that especially Summoner 7 is sitting in a position that he had no right to be sitting in. Edgeran finds him. They jump on him and then positions aggressively to go over that blast cone, not knowing full well that there is an Ornn and the rest of MUE coming down, beelining towards their position, and baits the entire team into what was essentially a wipe.
Absolutely, but thank you for capping that off. We are going to go to our break now. Of course, there is an extended break. We tried to push forward the last game of the day, but unfortunately one of the teams were not available to do so. So an hour and something break. Once we're back, we'll have the fourth, or the third, I guess, game of the day. Fourth or third, whatever you want to call it. So please do join us back then. Do whatever you want for the next hour, though. I don't care. Just enjoy yourselves.